What's up, guys? So I wanted to come on really quick, really fast and talk about an experience I had um, when I was out one day. So I went out and I was harassed in a physical way, non-sexual, but I was definitely harassed in a physical way while under the influence of a frequency manipulation. And those of you who are not familiar with the esoteric, you're probably not familiar with these type of things, and that these sort of things can take place and they can happen. So there's a lot that goes into it, so I will only go into a small amount of it, and just hopefully you'll go and look into it yourself and start to try to familiarize yourself with these things. But everything that we are is essentially vibration, sound, and light. And so those things can be manipulated, just like the elements, like water, fire, air, you name it. And with frequency and vibration, those things have been manipulated since the beginning of this realm, since the beginning of this setup. I'll say that, and I'll leave it there as far as a history lesson goes. Like I said, this is something that you're going to have to educate yourself on so that you can prove it to yourself. So I'm not going to try to beat it into you or trying to conform you. I'm just going to tell you that there is such a thing as frequency manipulation, which is where all of the 4G, 3G, 2G, 5G towers come into play. It is also why they have all these towers and these electrical lines and these poles up almost 10 feet away from each other on every block. What that is doing is manipulating your entire nervous system. It's sending messages to you 24/7 subliminally on a low frequency. It's sending messages and distortions to your entire body through messages and through distortion. I'll put it like this. For those of you who have ever seen Superman, the old one, the Christopher Reeve Superman, there's a scene where Superman had lost his powers and he had turned into just a regular guy, Clark, and that was it. That's who he was. And toward the end, he had got his powers back, and Lex Luthor was after him. He's the enemy. And Lex Luthor had found out about his fortress, and so he went into his fortress. It was made out of crystal, and he manipulated the area. He was messing around with it and doing things to it while Clark was Clark, while he was human. And so at the end, Clark gets his powers back as Superman. But how he does it is he goes back to his fortress, and he has General Zod and his two counterparts come back to his fortress, as well as Lex Luthor. And Lex Luthor says, I want you to go back to Clark. Give me your powers. And then you're gonna have to bow down to Zod, and Zod's gonna be the god on Earth from this point on. So this light comes on where it's supposed to be draining Clark, Superman, from his powers and transferring it over to General Zod and his two counterparts. Now, this is what had taken place in the middle of the movie, which is why he had lost his powers. And General Zod and the other two counterparts, they were like super duper powerful. They were already powerful because they were from the same place as Clark, as Superman, but Now that they had his powers, they were even more powerful. So they had a couple of battles, and Superman got his butt whooped. So at this scene, when they go back to it, and he was supposed to do the final transfer of his powers over to General Zod, this red light comes on, just like before, in the fortress, and the crystals light up red, and it's supposed to be taking his powers and giving it over to General Zod and his two counterparts. So then there's a scene where after this happens, General Zod tells Superman to bow down and kiss his ring, and bow down to me and kiss my ring. So he bows down, he takes his hand, and he starts to crush his hand. So Superman still has his powers. So what he did, instead of having his powers transfer over to the enemy, he ends up reversing it. He takes all their powers and his powers as well and brings it back into himself. So that is what is called energy harvesting in the 3D world, in this world that we live in. That is 3D harvesting. Excuse me, energy harvesting in the 3D. So when we talk about energy vampires and, they're just trying to suck your energy, they're literally taking your energy. It's not a joke. It's not a phrase. They're literally doing that. And that's how they do it. They put you in certain situations that they know they're going to be able to have access to your temple, and then they harvest your energy. This is all a method and a form of witchcraft. And this is the kind of things that these people do. This is one of the reasons that they have for the harassment, the constant bullying, the provoking you, the following you, because they're thirsty and hungry for your energy, and they want to take it out of you. And they're doing it by using black magic, voodoo, and witchcraft. So that frequency manipulation, it comes out of those towers, which is one of the reasons why, they're so in a hurry to put those up. And so that Superman scene is synonymous. It's synonymous with what those towers do to you. They could turn the frequency up. They could turn the frequency down. They want you to get sick. They'll turn it down. They want you to feel kind of, light on your feet. They'll turn it up. They can control all of this through a method that they've had around since before the first civilization. So just like if you have a bowl of water sitting on a table and you bump that table, that water's going to do what? It's going to move. It's going to ripple. If you were to go over to that table and take that bowl and deliberately start to move the bowl around, it's going to move in what direction you want it to move in. You're going to be able to manipulate that. And what are we made of? How much of our body is water? I'll wait. We're made up of more water than we are of any other liquid or mineral in this realm. So, what? It's easily to be manipulated. Just take some time and look into it yourself. You throw a pebble to a river, to a body of water, it's going to create a ripple. So this frequency manipulation and vibration manipulation is very, very real. It's very real. So they are using some sort of a frequency on their cell phones now. And they just have to be close to you to really have it work. So be careful when you go out places like movies. This happened to me in a movie theater. And I was rendered unconscious, and they did some things to me. And it's just like a form of hypnosis. But what's happening is that frequency is resonating with your frequency and manipulating it in return. That's as far as I'll go with it. But these are things they don't want you to know. And this is one of the reasons why I'm being gang stalked so heavily, is because I do know these things. I don't talk about these things in my videos because I'm too busy talking about, you know, the harassment and the torture, because I'm trying to get justice for that. But this is one of the main reasons why I am being targeted, because of what I know. And also what I carry in my DNA. So, again, be careful when you go out places thinking that you're safe because, you know, you're wide awake or it's daylight or you're in a place full of people, because you could be in a room full of a bunch of fucking witches and masons. And once you're rendered unconscious, everybody's in on the game. Everybody's in on the jig. So whatever's done to you will continue to be like Vegas. Just a little bit of FYI that I wanted to share from my experience of how easy it is for these people who understand how to work these things that you don't even know about, and to come against you.